Welcome to Clueless with Ogre and Big Paulie. Welcome to another episode of Clueless with Ogre and Big Paulie. How you going tonight, Big Paulie?
I'm going well again, Ogre. Thank you very much. I said, looks like we've got over our technical difficulties. It seems to be perhaps a weekly occurrence for us. But we've battled through those, and we've got a really interesting guest I'm looking forward to tonight, Ogre.
And we've had a bit of a sporty flavour, and in Australia it's a real sporting period. Does it ever stop, Big Paulie? We've had AFL finals, NRL finals. We're sort of moving through the horse racing carnival as we creep into summer. And I was looking at my yard today, Big Paulie. I was thinking, is it ready for a bit of backyard cricket?
Oh, that's very important because summer and cricket have started the tests start very soon. So, but you can never get enough sport, Ogre. Whether it's genuine interest in the horse racing, the AFL for us. I can feign watching tennis or diving if it's on the telly. I've even watched the ladies' football, Ogre, at some stage just to keep my sporting hand in. You can always find sport on the TV. KO is amazing, and you can just watch anything on KO. And I've watched some, even poker which is not really a sport, but you can always find entertainment. I think that's the key, isn't it? We can always find entertainment.
The darts. I love the darts.
180.
Oh, it's a classic line, isn't it? A classic line. When you try to achieve it, it's like the hole-in-one playing on the darts, trying to get the 3 triple 20s.
I reckon a hole-in-one, this is a good question, Ogre. I reckon a hole-in-one would be easier than the triple bullseye. Surely.
For hacks like us, maybe. But, if you go on the pros, I think the pro darts get the 180 more often than the pro golfers get a hole-in-one. I reckon those darts blokes just need a medal just for working out which number they need. I know they've got the computers and that these days, but gee whiz, do I need a 7? Do I need a 9? Oh, hang on a sec. Oh, no, too late. You've got a 13. And they come in with the chance. The old days, they'd be drinking beers and darts out the side of their mouths, darts at the darts. This year, they come in with their chants and the crowd going off and sponsors all over them. Professional sport at its best, the darts.
The good old days, Ogre. Take us back to the good old days, will you? That's what I like. And I think our next guest takes me back to my days, and I won't steal your intro, but I do love me cricket, Ogre, so I'm very keen to compare notes to our next guest.
Well, our next guest is a cricketer, Big Paulie, and it's actually our first referral. A listener had contacted me and said, how about getting our next guest on? And without further ado, our next guest is Steve Chimhamhiwa. I think I got that right, Steve. I don't think it's the way I practiced before, but we'll get it right. I shouldn't be laughing, Steve. It's a mouthful. You have a go. You have a go.
Call him Steve. I'm just calling him Steve, old mate. Welcome to the show, Steve, old mate. But for the record, tell us how you pronounce your name, and we will continue to stuff it up for the rest of the night.
All right. Hey, Big Paulie. Hey, Ogre. How you guys going? So we start with my name. So obviously Steven is the easy part, but the surname is Chimhamhiwa. Yeah, so
Chimhamhiwa.
You're right on track.
Chimhamhiwa. Okay.
A bit like
Chimhamhiwa,
If it's okay with you, I'm going to go with Stephen Chimwawawawa. Is that okay? Is that okay with you?
Off the long
let's just go with Steve.
We'll stick with Steve. So Steve is. For our listeners out there, Steve is a young cricketer who has been in the national side of Zimbabwe, now playing some local cricket in Australia, in Victoria. But the journey in the Zimbabwe cricket, Steve, has taken you to some of the heights in the under-19s teams and test teams and so forth. And, how'd you find all that from a professional era into local cricket out in Victoria, Australia?
There's always a shift when you're coming from playing professional, to club level.
With a pack of spuds.
Yeah, it's very chilled, yeah, very relaxed, sometimes you want to go too hard when it's not really necessary. But yeah, I felt like there was a bit of a struggle, of course. But the more I mean, Australia is a very relaxed country, very nice people, and then you start to realize, hey, Mike, you're just blowing too much steam. You just relax, and play the game.
So Paulie, so Big Paulie, we just got to talk about the steam and the level of steam, right? So the feedback that I've heard, right arm fast medium, right hand fast medium, bowling in the mid 130s, Big Paulie. Is there anything medium about the 130s? What is that?
Pedestrian 130s, I reckon. Now, just to take it back a step, Steve, us Aussies, we're very easygoing and, like a laugh. Yeah. Until we start to get beaten, and then it just goes a bit pear-shaped after that. So we start to get a bit competitive. So you just want to be careful out there. So that's pretty slick, 130 something k's an hour. I mean, I'd smack that to the fence probably second or third ball just after a one-ball cider. Yeah. So, but to give you some credibility, if you like, let's go back to early days Zimbabwe, and our show is called Clueless, and I can 100% tell you I'm absolutely clueless about Zimbabwe, and some would say cricket as well. So we might touch on that a little bit about what type of upbringing you've had, the training, the cricket, and all the other bits and pieces that go with growing up in Zimbabwe. But let's stack the credibility a little. What are we talking here? 130 clicks, best figures, best bloke you've got out, ever made 100? I know you're a bowler by the sounds of it, but, have you ever chalked up the 100 like Big Paulie here at Forest Hill Force?
Nah, not 100. I got close, but yeah,
what?
Nah. I'm sorry, guys.
Never made it.
Yeah, nah, I'm sorry.
Well, maybe you guys should be interviewing me, Ogre. I think man's never made 100, but
Well, he's a bowler. Let's just talk about he's a bowler. He does bat at 10 and 11 and has had some success as the night watchman.
Yeah, I was quite decent at
that. As I've heard. But junior days, I mean, in Australia, Steve, we have, you can start playing, Milo cricket as a real youngster, and I think you're involved with that locally, but competitively for me it was around under 12s. You might be able to get under 10s now. What's that look like in Zimbabwe? How do you get into the junior? You're just playing out in the backyard or the front yard, the street? How does it get going?
So yeah, I mean, it's pretty similar to Australian system, but the only difference is the fact that like Zimbabwe in general is a small country, right? So what happens is like for instance, when you're under 12, under 13, probably under 11, so we're still in primary school, which is junior school. So within your schools that you are learning, you obviously you play for teams, for age group teams, and at some point there is a tournament that's going to be hosted where everyone will take part. And obviously, the standouts will get selected for like a regional squad, and then there's going to be further trials. Again, you cut down, and then at the end of the day, you almost get like a state team. We call it provincial team, but with reference to Australia, a state team, and then you get like states playing against each other, and then from there, that's where you fish out the cream of the crop, and then you get your national side.
Let's go back there. If they've picked you out, what was the attraction that you gave them at those juniors? You were knocking blokes' heads off, or you were coming in off the long-on cone? What were they seeing?
What age were you clocking up 130 k's an hour?
Ooh, I think under 19. That's where I bowled my quickest. Actually, I was about 18, 19. Yeah, 18, 19, 20. Yeah. I was actually rapid at that.
For a minute there, I thought you said under 9s, and I thought, gee, I wouldn't like to be. No. I wouldn't like to be up the other end in under 9s facing 130 clicks.
I mean, along the way as a junior, I always had a reputation of just being the quickest bowler around, almost everywhere I went, be it a different state or different city, I was always ranked the quickest, amongst my age group. But then by the time I hit under 19, I was a little, I wasn't that big, but I was, big in terms of age. That's when I was actually bowling my quickest, to an extent that, I was actually being compared to some of the guys on the national side. There was actually talk of, me being the quickest. But because of, we didn't have like technology that actually measures the speed and all that during that time. So there's always a word of mouth by seeing, which is not really accurate at times. But, there was always that reputation of, clocking good speeds, at that age, yeah.
It's when you have to go and see the guns big Paulie, you've got to eyeball them yourself. You can't rely on video or anything like that. But in under-19s, just coming, and Big Paul, we'll jump into you in a second, but under-19s you were in the Zimbabwe team, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct, yeah. That's correct.
And played for the country at under-19 level?
I did, yeah. So what happens is, so during my time, I was fortunate enough to be part of the age group that actually goes for the World Cup. So once the provisional squad has been selected, it undergoes like a series of games between like amongst nations. So I remember the first series that we played was against Pakistan at home. And so basically, I was actually in the reserves. Basically, I was in the reserves. I had a bed trial. Actually, somehow during the trials, everything was just off. Couldn't run up. And I was overstepped. I just, it just went off. Everything just went off. So I was so lucky to be part of the 20, the 20 member squad that was going to take part within I was at 7 match series, a couple of T20s, and the rest were 1 day. So that's basically where I found my way through the cracks, and I got a game. And when I got a game, everything just came back 5 on the blue, and the rest was
Hey, hang on a sec, just back it up. Did you just say 5 on debut?
Yeah. It was actually
So national level under 19s, clicking at 130 versus Pakistan, and. 5
actually.
That's an extraordinary effort.
To be fair, like the build up to everything that happened that day was a bit funny actually. So that usually when you're playing in the national squads, right, the team is announced the night before so that you prepare. So I knew I was not in the squad because they'd announced it, But then during warm-up, one of the guys had I think an ankle sprain or something. I was already helping my other mates to, prepare, throwing balls and whatnot. And again, because of resources are a little bit scarce back at home, I had given my bowling shoes to a mate who was playing. I'm like, mate, you were the one who's playing. You might as well get my shoes, and good luck. So before I knew it, the coach just came up to me, slightly aggressively, started asking me where my shoes were, my bowling boots were. And then I'm trying to explain to him that I'm not playing, I gave him to someone who was playing. And then he's like, no, mate, you're actually playing. Everyone else is injured and you're playing. You need to get those shoes on. So from,
So good.
So at this point, I'm actually angry because, my coach is just, he's just sprayed me, and I feel like I'm not guilty at this point. I'm actually looking out after my mate, and he just comes and sprays me so. There was not even time to think about what's going to happen in the game. I was actually angry, so I just got in the ground, grabbed the ball, and my very first ball, better nicked off.
Wicket, first ball.
Second over of the game. First ball,
So you open bowl.
I bowled the second over, yeah.
With no shoes on.
Come on. Of course I got my boots back.
Did you get your ones back, or did you have to borrow some yourself?
I had to go to my mate and explain to him, like, mate, I'm not playing, so, you might need to talk to one of the guys who's not playing. And then he understood, he understood.
I would hope so. Now, so you're playing Pakistan. Did you happen to let one rip at cop one into nuts? Did you bowl to him? I just wanted to ask.
No.
Was there any players that we would know? And again, I'm not. I like my cricket, but my boundaries don't spread to other parts of the country very often. Was there some players in that team that you're playing against that we would say, gee whiz, we know him, or someone went on to play, really Test cricket and stuff?
100%. But of course, at that time, who knew what was going to happen, And I didn't even know this guy. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? Only later, Babar Azam was one of the players who came up with, in the squad.
I do know that name. Big Baba.
Is he the captain of Pakistan?
Ex-captain at this point, if I'm not
Ex-captain.
mistaken, yeah. You wouldn't miss, one of the world's best batters in the world, as much as, you didn't play a lot of cricket, but, Babar Azam wouldn't be...
You just slid one past him.
Yeah.
Right arm fast medium, 130 clicks, and he just had no idea. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, the one, to be honest, I only remember one time I actually nicked him off. He's basically hit me for 2 back-to-back boundaries through the covers. And I remember walking back to my mark, and I took a deep breath, took a deep breath, and then I just ran up again. Hit length, to be honest, wasn't really thinking a lot. All I knew at that point was just to let it go as quick as I can. Make sure the ball is within the margins, and hope for the best. And guess what? He nicked one off straight to the keeper.
Beautiful, love that. And just celebrate? Did you get up and about and
Yeah,
celebrate?
of course I celebrated. This guy had just hit me for two boundaries in a row, so there had to be a bit of a celebration there. But of course, at that point, I never knew he was going to be, a world star, because I think, looking over at the statistics, I actually got him out 4 times in that series, and he barely got over 25 runs, to be honest.
He was your bunny.
Apparently, yeah.
I was going to say that, Big Bully is the bunny.
Baba the bunny.
Apparently,
Bunny.
Yeah. And if I'm to be honest, I actually, one of the boys that I coach at the club, he's the one who actually brought that to my attention. I did not even realize it up until I came over here. And then he started
just another
talking
wicket.
about me getting out Babar Azam, 4 times. I'm like, mate, where are you getting that from? Only for me to go back and crick him from like, oh my God, this actually happened. Yeah.
I was interested in what you did say about you being smacked to the fence for 2 boundaries, and I'm never a bowler much, and I didn't ever think too much about bowling, but I've since watched videos of Shane Warne where he says I'm going to do then, and the great thing about cricket these days is they mic up, particularly for the BBLs, and there's the famous stuff of Shane Warne, I'm going to bowl this one just outside leg, this one a bit fuller, this one a bit wider, on the 4th one I'm going to get him, whatever it was. But you said you didn't think too much about your 3rd ball to Bubba. You just raced in and just as hard and as fast as you can. Was that a trademark of yours, or was there a bit more strategy to bowling than that?
So, ever since I was, like I told you, I had a lot of history of bowling quick, So, a lot of coaches would just try to simplify things. They'll be like, Mike, you just need to make sure the ball, is within the margins. You just need to make sure you hit something along the way. You just need to make sure you bowl as quick as you can. So the plan for me was so simple. Don't bowl wides, keep it, if you're going to hit the stumps, hit the stumps. If you're going to bowl a bouncer, make sure it's high enough. So it was so clear for me at that point, because I had speed on my side, So there was no really thinking a lot. If I bowl too full, bowl a little bit shorter. That was basically, the line of thinking. But of course, as I grew older and, pace became really nothing to the older guys, you start, to use the brains, you start to work on specifics. But I would be lying if I say like during my junior years and my under 19 years, I was actually, bowling to a plan. Of course, we would discuss about plans, but the minute you walk in the ground, probably you're nervous, all that is thrown out the window. And you just lean towards your default setting, just let it go, man. Just let it go. Yeah, so, yeah.
Hold fast. Did you give Bubba a send-off? Did you tell head back to the pavilion and you'll be nothing by the time I finish with you?
I was never really a guy like that. In fact, I was more reserved, just celebrate with others, understand the fact that, this guy just missed out. He's probably disappointed and hurting. So I wouldn't be really, over excited about it too much. I wasn't really a send-off guy. Yeah.
Can you imagine your send-off, Big Paulie? You'd be running ahead of him. You'd be painful.
I wish I could bowl fast. There would have been a lot of carry on in the day. Now, paint the picture, just which is a question I was going to ask before. So you 130 clicks. I'm a bit obsessed with the pace. How tall are you now, and how tall were you as a young kid? Terrorising batsmen.
I'm really short. Maybe 5'5" at most. I'm not that high. I'm not that. No, I'm barely
5'5" now.
Yeah, I'm not that tall. No.
No, 5'5" is not tall.
No.
So he wouldn't be scaring the batsman before he's bowled. It wouldn't be like the big Joel Garner and Michael Holding days.
If anything, what would happen is I would actually catch people by surprise, because they look at my body, they look at me, they're like, hey, yeah, maybe just a swing bowler, And then before you know it, I catch him off guard. I'm skiddy, away shape as well, almost like Dale Steyn in particular, actually. Short, explosive. Yeah, so in first glance, you don't think much about it. Only up until, you feel the heat, then you actually, get him. Yeah.
So Stevie here's got Bubba out 4 times, and now he thinks he's Dale Steyn. But
nah, he can't.
Well, that used to be a nickname, Big Paulie. I was going to bring it to your attention. It was called, tell me if this is true or not, but he was called the Black Dale Steyn. Is that true, Steve? Was that friends? Was that media?
Yeah, that is that. Yeah. Well, not really the Black Dale Steyn, but my mates actually what they used to say, like my action. If anything, I remember I was actually at trials, and I was under 17. So basically, this was like my breakthrough into the age group national side. So up until that point, I hadn't actually represented any national side. So I went for further trials, and you get acquainted with the boys that had played in previous age group sides. You know what I'm saying. So once you break into the system, it's almost automatic if you keep your performances high to make the next age group. So I was just getting around the boys who were accustomed to the environment already. So I was obviously I was new, and I was bowling to they would be called senior guys, and one of these guys was like, oh yeah, this guy is actually quick. I was actually struggling to face him. He bowls like Dale Steyn. So from there it just stuck, and then I went on YouTube to look up who Dale Steyn was, and that's about the time he was actually breaking through into the international scenes as well. I think he had just taken a 10-wicket haul in the test match against New Zealand. And then I'm like to myself, he's actually not bad, you know what I mean? So yeah, it just caught on me from there, and then they just called me Dale Steyn.
Now tell me the truth. Now tell me the truth here, Steve. Yeah. Have you ever Googled to see if Dale Steyn got Bubba out 4 times?
Actually,
have you ever checked that?
But what I know is he had Muhammad Hafiz. He got him out like 6 times. That much, 6 to 8 times. That much I know. Yeah, he had his own bunny. Yeah,
he's got his own bunny.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure at that point. Yeah, I was gonna say at that point, Babar Azam was like my age. Dale Steyn was a bit older than me. He was still in the under 19s.
Yeah.
And as a youngster, you idolised Brett Lee.
I did, yeah, very much. The action, wow. Yeah.
About the same height, you two, I reckon.
He was pretty tall.
No, he's very tall. No, but the action, that was golden. I've never seen such a smooth run-up and such a complete action. And it's so easy on the eye that you wouldn't believe you'll be bowling 150 clicks an hour. I was just like, Brett Lee was, basically, I think it was my first love up until Dale Steyn hit the scenes,
So funny. Well, I love that. And now there's a big game. You just tell me here. So we're going back. There was a World Cup preparation in Australia at the G. And there was a few injuries came about, and you got the call up locally because they'd only brought out 15 or so players, and you were there at the cusp. You didn't actually make it in the 11. You tell me the story, Steve. You tell me the story.
Honestly, I really feel like there was Because that situation was way misunderstood from my point of view. Actually, like, look, guys, this is a World Cup. Like, I understand it from because I played like cricket professionally, and I know what it means to make a World Cup team. Like, you don't just. It's not as easy as that to just get into a World Cup team and play. Nah, it's not like that. It's not as easy as that. And me admitting to that, it's almost like a mockery to whoever deserves to go or whoever actually works hard to, because it's a lot of work to actually get yourself in that position. I mean, I went for the under-19. It's probably not the same, but I would imagine the amount of work and commitment that I actually put in is probably double. Because I've also probably like during under-19s, I had to sacrifice quite a few things. And for me to just wake up and say, this is a men's World Cup, I was in Australia and there was a chance for me. It sounds good, but yeah.
So it's not true. I've been told the fair thing.
Nah.
So hang on, I just want to clarify. So did you go to the ground with the team and be ready, but you didn't quite get on the ground? Is that right? Or the whole thing's just a dead set yarn?
No, not at all. I didn't even meet the guys. No. If anything, we were in communication with the boys, yes. But the way they were traveling as well, I could never actually be with them. Yeah. And there was a lot of restrictions as well. The only time probably I could actually go and meet up with the boys was probably during their free time. But during the hours of actual working hours, there were a lot of restrictions around them. Yeah.
Well, Stephen, the longer you spend in Australia, hopefully you'll learn one thing. Never let the truth get in the way of a good story. So I would just roll with that for as long as you like, and just and people love that stuff. We've been a couple of stories in Australian cricket where they've grabbed blokes from nowhere.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys.
I was just saying, the feedback I got was from the connection, and he's going, "Oh yeah, he was there and made it up," and I wrote it down on the side. I didn't do any fact checking, Steve.
I let him down, honestly. I'm sorry in advance.
No, don't be silly. But there's always a story about adding a little spice. They've added a bloody whole packet to that story. But well done. But you're in communication with them as well. You had the inside story. You'll be able to email them and show off and show your friends. I'll just ring up the boys and the team and see how they're going.
Yeah. I remember we were having a little breaky. It was at a brunch here with one of my club members and his son and friend, and they were very keen to talk to one of the boys, and I did actually ring one of the stars, and I gave a video call them, and then I gave them a phone, and they just froze in front of the camera, like they just so close. And then I'm like, boys, you're the one, going on and about, wanting to talk to a professional star. Here he is, you guys are just freezing. I don't think they believed me at that point up until I actually made the call. And then they just froze. It was like a priceless moment. I'm like, wow.
So there was someone in their phone, and you've picked up one of the big names, obviously. So how many of these big name players would you have had in your phone at any one time? Was it just a one-off big name you're in the phone, or you had a few? You had them all?
No, to be fair, I think I've got 90% of...
90%?
No, 70% of who's playing right now. 70%. Let's say 70%. Because what I'm saying is, one way or the other, we've played against or with each other, during the regular season. So like I said, our country is so small. When we host tournament, we can almost fill up in one hotel. So we always brushing shoulders, having a chat. Especially, you always want to have a chat with the guys who are playing at a higher level for your education, of course. So it's actually not a big deal to actually have a number of a star. Like, I've got Sakinder Raz's phone number. Not sure if he's gonna pick up, but he definitely knows my name if I'm to actually give him a...
Let's give it a go. What time is it now where he is? We'll just give it a go. See, on live podcast.
Well, at the moment, I think... Yeah, I would have done that, but he's actually, I think at this point, they're actually on a series. They're playing Afghanistan in a series of T20s, I think. And he's the captain. He's probably taken by, for the
He might be
captain
busy.
duties at the moment.
Stevie boy, how are you, mate?
Yeah.
Stevie, I'm just on Sky News at the moment. Can I call you back? Or I'm just on. I'm just being interviewed at KO. I'll give you an ogre
just
and
about to
Paulie
toss the
call back
coin.
in a
What
few
is it,
minutes. If
Stevie?
that's okay. Not again. No, you can't have any money. How? So I'm intrigued about Zimbabwe cricket, which I'm clueless about. So, how many international players of your era and younger and older, I guess for that matter, have made it to Australia or other places around the world to play professional cricket? They've either been to the top level and then just a bit older now and just travelling the world playing cricket. How many would be in Australia now that are making a living from playing professional cricket?
Professionally, I mean, if professionally, we're talking about first class cricket or grade, because grade apparently is semi-pro, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, or they've come over to play cricket predominantly and getting well paid for it.
From the top of my head, I know at least about 6 to 10. And to be honest, the number is actually more than that, definitely. So these are just people who have maybe closely interacted with at some point, or I still interact with. But we are quite in numbers, and they also spread out in the UK as well.
Now, Big Paul, I just want to let you know how Stevie got found out in the Camberwell team. He playing for Wycliffe at the moment, which is near Camberwell in the Box Hill reporter grade. But he was you're able to put out your profile of yourself on a site called Cricket X, otherwise known as Cricket Tinder. Big Paul, just to put it in your speak.
That's what I would have called it.
Similar one for other sports, but Steve, you put your profile up there, and do you choose Australia when you do that?
Yeah, it's actually there's actually like a backstory to all of that up until I actually decided to make that that option. Yeah, it was probably like 6 to 7 months before, right? Like I was, a cousin of mine who relocated over here like 5-6 years back. Just before he left, but he was just telling me that, mate, I'm moving to Australia, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, no, good on you, mate. This is fantastic. And then he just said, mate, I would like for you to actually join me if, there's an opportunity. And then I'm like, okay. No, but just as a person who had been overseas before with cricket, I had been to England, played a couple of seasons there. I knew there was actually a pathway with the game. So after the regular season, I was actually late in applying for playing club cricket in England. So I realized that I had an opportunity, like in Australia, cricket hadn't actually started. There was still off season, it's still winter. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just change locations and let me have a look. Yeah.
We're your second choice, Steve. Is that right? You came over here by accident because you couldn't play anywhere else, so you just came here now. Gee whiz. I'm feeling disheartened. But continue, please. Continue.
That is so crazy. Oh my God. Nonetheless, yeah. I changed locations, right? And then, I stumbled across, I actually saw a few posts, and then I just went to Wycliffe. I saw the ad. And then I'm like, it just got to me. I'm like, you know what? Let me just reach out. You know what I mean? Let me just reach out. So I sent, I went on Facebook. I staged them up, and then I sent a DM in there. And then for 4 to 5 months, no reply. And then I thought, that deal was gone. And, just one day I saw...
Geez, I'm on Tinder here.
Yeah. And then one day I saw a response on Messenger, Facebook Messenger. And then there was a message saying, mate, if you're still keen to come over and play for us, send me a WhatsApp message on this number. And then I sent the message straight away. And to my surprise, I only got the next response 3 weeks later, Nonetheless, I got the response, and then straight away, we set up a meeting, and then we did the meeting, we did the interview, and then within 72 hours, I got a message again with the contract and everything, being told, hey, everything is all good, we've chosen you. And then all of a sudden, I now have to apply for visas and all that. And I'm talking to my cousin saying, mate, we've got, we spoke about, me coming over. there's, a pathway, we say we want to look for a way. And then he's like, mate, you know what, if it's actually possible, I've never heard of it before, but look, mate, if it's possible, go for it. And then I'm like, to hell with this, I just, did everything that was required. And before I knew it, I was on a flight, coming to Australia.
And here you are now, 5 years later.
And here I am.
Famous on a podcast. Who would have thought?
Send this back home. You go, look at me, lads. Look at me, boys.
And I'm on a
Clueless.
Our listener now. You have got a big following and a big family over in Zimbabwe. So we expect every. I understand it's a small country of $16.5 million, 16.5 million people. Google just told me. So we would expect probably 15 million of those to be uploading this podcast. Would that be?
And we can track them. We can track them from to Zimbabwe.
I'm not really that famous,
So we'll educate you. That's okay.
We'll be reminding you, Steve. Going, I've only got 4 listeners in Zimbabwe, mate. You sure? You sure you know these people? 4? Come on. Let's go.
Nah, surely I'll get a few people on it.
So it's fair to say it took a little while, by the sounds of it, for Whitecliffe to come to the party. But I reckon if you had told them you got Bubba out 4 times, it might have shortened that gap a fraction. They might have signed you up 6 months earlier.
I reckon, I think so. But the thing is, at that point, it wasn't actually in my mind. I didn't even realize. I didn't even know about me taking.
Oh yes, your friend hadn't told you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how hard is the process from sitting there in Zimbabwe? You've just signed the contract with the local Australian cricket team. So how does that happen? Does the cricket club do all the paperwork and make it all an easy transition, or is that something you just go, gee, what happens now? And off you go down to the embassy or the airport or wherever you go and get organised?
The club has to actually support you. Like I remember I needed a sort of like a clearance letter from Cricket Australia. And the club has to actually go and outsource it. And so basically what this is just my assumption that they basically look at Cricinfo. If you are on Cricinfo, that means that you've played cricket at a professional level. So that's basically like the baseline of acquiring that sort of letter. That's my assumption. So basically, so the club had to actually get the clearance letter from Cricket Australia, because it's actually like a prerequisite on the visa application. So so the club has to they have to actually support me to show that they're literally going to take care of me, take care of my housing and everything. And so with that type of support, it makes it legit, or eligible for me to actually come over or submit the visa application.
So the club does all the paperwork, provides accommodation or sources accommodation for you. That's all part of the contract. So there's one question. There's one question, and answer it if you like. But I'm not sure if you know how this show works, but I've just had 83 messages from our listeners to ask. The big question is, how much money do you get paid, Stevie? That's the big question. Is it worth your while coming over? We're not the tax department here, so we don't really care about the actual amount. But again, generally speaking, I'm not going to try and put you in a position. But is it enough money to obviously come out here, make a living, and and enjoy our country?
Yeah. Truth be told, it's definitely better than when you're back at home. It's definitely better than when you're back at home. Things are definitely a bit pricey, but you can actually make a living. You can make something of it. To be honest, it's something that you can build on and get better. It's it's a good start. If I'm to put it in a nutshell, it's actually a good start. It's something that you can actually,
Steve, I've got a question here. I don't want to test our source again. Source the two made up an imaginary World Cup involvement. This comment was, you're a professional cricketer in Zimbabwe. Mm-hmm. You've come out here playing at the local level, and there's a bit of a donation. And that donation is worth more than what you are getting as a professional cricketer in Zimbabwe. Is that true or not?
Yeah.
And that's not a lot of money, Nick.
At a weekly rate, it is, more than, it's definitely more than...
So I've been to Victoria Falls. Steve. It was an amazing place. And then we've done
Yes, that's actually a nice place. Yeah.
a safari at Hawangi National Park for a few days. So sort of down.
Hawangi National Park. Yeah.
And while we were there, we went off to a village and sort of looking at how people were living and all that. Now, Big Paulie, talks about clueless, but Big Paulie was probably born with a spoon in his mouth. He's a bit hoity-toity, he doesn't like to get his hands dirty and all that. But I'm interested to know your life there. The place we went, they had to walk 250 metres to get water each day, no electricity, obviously. But what was your upbringing like, Steve, from when you were young and around your family, etc.?
To be honest, growing up, to be fair, it was easier than that. I don't want to lie. So basically, mom and dad were educated. Yes, they grew up in the villages, but they did very well for themselves to come in the cities, and create a home for themselves and careers. So basically, when we grew up, it was almost like a silver spoon compared to how they grew up. So it was, kind of easy hands.
Big Paulie.
Yeah.
I think, Oga, we are talking. You haven't done your homework here, Oga. I think we're talking to a part of the royal family of royalty. Prince Stevie Way Mama Mai.
No. Nah, it's not even like that.
No. Sounds like it was
trying
close.
To compare to the description that he gave us, like I grew up in a better setting than that, where, there was electricity, there was water to flush, there was water in the sink, you could use a kettle to boil water, microwave and all that, so, it's pretty modern. And, but of course not the best, but, it was a modern situation. I mean, that's exactly why I was exposed to cricket, because during my time when I was a bit young, cricket is actually a sophisticated sport that is actually found, which was found in decent schools, more than just an average school. So I would like to say my childhood was pretty okay. Of course, it was okay. It was okay.
But
okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Cricket, Stevie, is not the national sport in Zimbabwe.
Oh no. Soccer is our national sport actually, but cricket is actually on the rise. It's actually in the past 7 to 10 years, it's been actually getting more popular. I think it's brought up by the fact that a lot of ICC tournaments are being hosted back at home. And, actually people come in numbers, especially when there's like a big tournament involving a lot of countries, uniting in one area. So it's actually coming up really well. And also the T10 tournaments that are being introduced around the world as well. So it's becoming more and more famous of late. And I'm sure in the next couple of years, it will surpass even the traditional sport, soccer. That's just my take. Yeah. That's just my take. Yeah.
And you see the Zimbabwe team climbing to the elite stage and playing in those top groups and against those top countries.
If I'm to be honest, it's still a long way to go. To be honest, I feel like there's a lot of things that needs consideration and that needs fixing. We also need to get more educated, a bit more resources in terms of our equipment. Of course, I mentioned education in the sense that I feel like we can do better on a coaching level. We can expose our future coaches and our current coaches to better methods of coaching as well. Like these things are turning a little bit more modern, and I feel like we're slightly behind the 8 ball when it comes to that. So for us to be on a world stage, it's going to take quite a bit. But it's always work in progress. There's a lot of talent. There's a lot of energy flying around as well. But I just feel like we just need to improve on a few things, like our intellect of the game. And obviously, more resources. With more resources, you get better options.
So, if you're the president of the Zimbabwe Cricket Club, Stevie, what's more important? Is it going to be getting better coaches and international coaches, obviously players from other countries, or is it about money?
First and foremost, you cannot do either of what you mentioned, without the money. The money is as important as actually getting the coaches as well. But I think the most important thing for me would be educating the local coaches, educating the coaches that will be operating at a grassroots level, because I feel that is where more. I feel like that's where more emphasis should be, instead of focusing. I understand that the main teams, they also need a certain amount of resources, but I feel that there's a certain level of importance even with the younger players, because you're as good as your future, to be honest. So I feel like there's a need to invest.
Does the government support cricket?
From what I understand, cricket is like an independent body from the government. Like, I think this is basically one of the ICC guidelines that cricket should never interfere with any government activities. I think it's just a way to keep out the politics away from the game as well. Like, there's a lot of money that that associates with the game, and I think ICC doesn't want any of that money being, tempered in any way to sort of like, influence politically. Yeah. So it's like, yeah.
Where does the money come from for the growth of cricket in Zimbabwe? Is it private investment? How do you go forward to get money?
It's a blend of obviously private investment and obviously like every member of the ICC gets like is it an annual grant or it's like a 5-year grant every time? So that is basically that has to cater for all the cricketing activities, So yeah, so it's a bit of a blend of ICC predominantly and of course the private investors.
So Stevie, you talked about we talked about the money that's related to money you earn in Zimbabwe cricket in comparison to here. So I'm assuming you've had and Big Paul and I can talk about it all the time. We go to the supermarket and the value you get or don't get. It must have been a bit of a shock when you've come out here and yes, there's a bit more money to be earned, but it falls through your fingers really quickly. Tell me, the bacon and eggs at $18 or something. You see that? What blew your head off in the price of something? Where have I come to?
Again, I'll point out to a situation where we had a branch, one of your sources, like it paid like $80 for like, was it like basically, let's just say 3 plates of breakfast, and to me that was like a shock, because with $20 I will buy 3 people breakfast and stay with some change. You know what I'm saying? So that was a bit of a shock, But one thing I understood was, I feel like it's I can't say it's easy, but you get money on a regular in Australia as compared to when you're back at home. So which means, prices are going to be slightly elevated, which makes sense because, you get money on a regular. As compared to back at home, you definitely, you get paid every month. And it makes sense, to be able to use $20, it's such a stretch because like money is not really available and you tend to, I think that's just how the system works.
Well, let me give you a bit of advice, Stevie, from my halcyon days on the cricket field and going to uni. So when money becomes a bit tight, this is what I used to do, right? So cricket was on Saturday, and then you would just go to your match. And do they still have afternoon teas at cricket, Stevie? Because the best trick in the world is you don't eat for 3 days, and then you play cricket for a couple of hours, and then you go to some of the clubs that have the best spread of afternoon tea you've ever seen. Do you still have afternoon tea, Stevie, at crickets?
Yeah. 100%. Look, mate, like the motivation when you're younger was the fact that at the cricket there is good food. So that was ask any young boy who was playing back in the day when I was young. We knew that if you're to play the decent teams, play for the districts, play for the states, we knew during lunchtime, during dinner, the food is awesome. So yeah, that's like the highlight of
his junior
being
career.
part
It
of
was
the
all the
cricket team,
afternoon teas I had.
yeah, yeah. I remember, like, even back in the day, we used to go and watch like international cricket. Yeah, so they used to have this section for schoolboys who would come in their school uniform. They'll bring us some pies every 2 hours. So, mate, that was like the station to stay in. Every time you go and watch the game, you know that there are a couple of pies for the game, and just
So
sit.
good. So good.
Now, one last question, which ties in a little bit to our afternoon teas, and an international cricket star like yourself, does the captain still come around before afternoon tea and say, "Hey, mate, I was 20 for afternoon tea," or I was $10? Does he still come around, and then some blokes would take off and go to the toilet or run around the block, and you'd never see their $20? Do you have to give the skipper 10 or 20? To have afternoon tea, even as an international
that's in his
professional?
contract.
No, so that's provided actually. Yeah, it's actually free. Those are the perks, mate. Like, that's what I was saying. As a young kid, the motivation was, mate, during lunchtime, man, you get a nice half chicken and chips or something. Something really nice, something that you wouldn't like eat at home. So yeah, that was like we knew that was free.
But what about now? Now, as in when you on Saturday,
same.
still free.
Same, still for free. Yeah, it's the same.
What
yeah.
about if you go to tea and you got none for 63? Yeah, you're not hoeing down on the free stuff then at none for 63.
He's just going last.
You know what? I'm stress relieving off all the sandwiches on the table.
So best figures down is Whitecliff there in the Campbell. What's your best figures today?
5 for about 90 odd. I bought like...
For 90?
Was it?
Oh, it's got some treatment along the way.
Nah, I bought like 35 overs that game. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember one of the spinners got injured, yeah. So, there was a need for a bit of heavy lifting, and, I just kept going, yeah.
Oh, it's a machine, 35 overs of express.
Yeah, I bought like 35. Nah, not anymore.
Medium, sorry, medium.
And you walk off with the thunderous applause for Pfeiffer and hold the ball up to the rest of the crowd, who was probably about 4 people at that time of the day, I'd reckon, and just thunderous applause.
To be fair, it was almost like because to be honest, mate, if I'm to bowl 35 overs, we actually fetched, yeah. So it was almost like whatever, mate. It was a hot day as well. I wasn't even having it, to be honest. I only realized that I'd got 5 when someone was actually sending a message in the team group. That's when I realized, I actually got 5. But when I was actually doing the actual playing, because I got the 5
What is wrong
wicket.
with you?
He's a
I got the
champion,
5th
Big
wicket on the last ball of the inning. Yeah.
Mate,
So
I was a
the last ball
batsman.
of the inning.
No,
The last ball of the
listen.
inning, you'd be like, yeah, it's the last ball. Yeah, let's get out of here.
Stevie, what happens, right? At the end of the day, or you get out, you nick off, is the terminology. You pretend you go over there. As a batsman, I knew pretty closely, within half a dozen or so, how I was going. But, then you'd just, get your pads off as a batsman. You'd mosey on over to the scorecard and see exactly how you went. Now, surely as a bowler, you just wander over and go, how was that? Oh, 5 for you. Thought it was a good day's bowling. You don't know you got Bubba Azar out 4 times. You don't know you got 5 for on your last Saturday. You got to start taking a bit more notice, mate.
He's got to turn a bit more Aussie.
On Babar Azam, you can understand me that we're only 18, mate. Who knew that he was going to be a world star?
Doesn't matter.
And at this point, I'm 35. I'm 35 overs in. I'm hurting. Who thinks of that?
I only got 5 wickets in my life, and I can tell you their first name, middle name, surname, address, and brother's cousin's name. I'll give you the tip. But we haven't got time for that.
I'm caught on the boundary, every single one of them, Big Paulie. Finally, Steve, just engineering. You've done an engineering degree back in Zimbabwe, but it's not recognised in Australia, and you've had to go and do it again. Is it easy the second time?
Even tougher. My goodness, mate. I thought I knew engineering up until I went in class. I'm like, what is going on here? Yeah, everything was different. Yeah. And even to get to the point of wanting to do engineering is actually a very, very funny story, to be honest. So basically, I was in England. This was 2006? Yeah, 2017. Sorry, 2017. It's 2016. Dates, guys. Sorry,
5,
2016.
10 years, whatever.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Sorry. So
2016.
yeah. So So I was at a point where my cricketing career wasn't really going as well as I wanted to. At that point, I was actually expecting to be there and there about the national side, but here I was in England, playing a division lower my league, which wasn't really the idealist. And I had a very interesting conversation with one of the best people in the world, my sister. It's almost like she had like a feeling that I wasn't going through a good time, and she actually contacted me, and then we started just basically talking about life, how I was doing, and I told her my disappointments at that point, and she literally asked me, let's just say cricket was done, what would you want to do? And previously, I had spoken to other like elderly people that my other option, I would want to do engineering, but no one really took me serious on it. They gave me each and every excuse why it wouldn't happen. They wanted me to do sports science, just the fact that I played cricket before. And I was like, no, I don't want to do sports science. If I'm off the game, I'm off the game for good. I would want to give back at some point, but I don't want to be like a full-time. I want to do something, more, something different. So my sister, we actually, it was over a chat, and then she said to me, mate, what do you want to do? I said engineering. I just wanted to hear it out because everyone else up until that point was just shutting it down. And then she's like, I think you should do that. Just like that. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute. What do you mean? She's like, yeah, I support that. I think you should do it. And then she's like, I don't care. And then she's like, yeah, I know other people can say whatever they say, but I support you 100%. If you want to do it, you got my back. And that was like that. I go back home after the season there. And I made the call, and that call came with sacrifices as well, because I knew as long as I was at school, I was never gonna get another overseas deal because of school. Yeah. So yeah, I made the call, and then I went to college, and thank God I made it happen in such a way that I could balance it with my professional career as well. So it was almost like a thing I was now doing, simultaneously. Sometimes, off to games, I'll be doing assignments in the bus and all that. Yeah, and I got the qualification, and it actually worked very well because the minute I finished, I actually opened my own business, my side business as an engineer, drawing house plans and detailing structures and all that. But obviously on a very small scale, yeah. But I was just doing it like as a side gig because I was a professional as a cricketer. So I ran that simultaneously, and the money that wasn't that much at the cricket, combining with my side hustle, I was a different person. I was actually okay, yeah. And and then fast forward, came over here, played for Wycliffe, and then I realized, hey, I can actually kick off with with my newfound passion, which is engineering. And then I realized I was in a unique situation where I could up my grades, especially since I realized that I couldn't get any form of work because they didn't recognize my qualifications. So it's just a decision. I thought to myself, if I am going to go back to school, I have to make it worthwhile. I just don't want to do anything that's just for the sake of staying here longer. If I'm going to actually decide to stay here, I need to do something that's worth my while, something that I actually want. So I really decided, I thought about it, and I gave myself a chance. I'm like, mate, I think it comes with just the background of cricket. As a sportsman, you always want to compete at the highest level. and I felt I was in a good country which gives credit to value as well. So I figured, mate, give yourself a chance, get the qualification. I know, it's going to take a minute, but it's going to be worthwhile if it's going to happen. So I just gave myself a little bit of a chance. I said, I will go down the 4 years. I will restart everything. I don't care. As long as I get to, where I want to get to, which is right where I am right now, which is, I think I'm on course. Yeah. I mean, I'm not there yet, but yeah, the road looks promising. Yeah.
Being on this podcast, you are so close to utopia, Stevie. It's not even funny, but it sounds like what a life from a little boy in Zimbabwe, just chucking down them at 130 clicks.
It's something that I did not really elaborate properly. Like for a very, very long time. I mean, for more than half my life, cricket basically was like my life. If I'm to remove cricket outside my life, I literally lose everything. Like from clothes, from like everything just goes away. If I'm to remove cricket from my life right now, then it means there's no Australia, there's no podcast, there's no engineering, there's basically nothing. Because like even the engineering itself, I had to use the money that I was earning from the cricket to pay for tuition. So you realize that like cricket has been really like a big contributor to my life. Like from I was in high school, I used to go to school for free because of scholarships. I was at a private school just because of scholarships. You travel around the world for free just to go and play the game. So you see, like it's a very big contributor to my life that it, again, even when it comes to like everything that I actually apply in life is from cricket. Discipline, to be on time, to etiquette, to speak. You might think that most of these things I got them from a classroom, but no, it was actually from the game itself. And it literally, basically it's basically my life, because remove that, I'm nothing. I'm nothing.
I'm sure you wouldn't be nothing, Steve. It's been an absolute pleasure having you with us tonight. Steve Chimhamhiwa, thank you so much. Look forward to following your local cricket career, and I hope that engineering degree comes through and you can do some great work in that field. Big Paulie.
Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. And you've been just about to the mountaintop, I would suggest, in cricket. And there's probably only one challenge on the cricketing field that awaits you, and that's rolling the arm over to Big Paulie here. I'm left-handed. I have 1 century more than you to my name at Forest Hill Fourths, and I'm a little older now. But if you are anywhere near short downside leg, you are going to the fence, my man. Even now, I reckon. So I say that from here. And one thing I will remember: I won't smack you to the fence 2 times in a row, because you will run in like a raging bull, and I will nick off, and then me and Baba will be in the same breath. Thanks for sharing your story, and mate, good luck with the rest of your stay in Australia, and hopefully that's for a long time to come.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me here. It's been a pleasure. For the first time, I hope I did very well. But no, look, it's been very awesome. Yeah, for once I stepped out of my comfort zone and actually get to interact, which is fantastic, and especially with what I'm trying to aim for. I really need to get used to such conversations. Yeah. No, but thank you very much for having me, guys.
Yeah, true. And we expect the Zimbabwe listeners to go through the roof, mate.
Only one more job. You get that 16.5 million Zimbabweans, if that's what you call them, to join in the podcast, and we'll get one of your mates on too soon. Thanks, Steve.
Get them on. Yeah, no worries. Thank you, guys. Have a good one, yeah.
Well, Big Paulie, Steve Chimhamhiwa, international cricketer for Zimbabwe.
And giving a bit back by the sounds of it, playing high-level cricket here, and we didn't touch a lot on it, but he does a lot of coaching there as well. Now an engineering career beckons, and sounds like to me, Oga, he's staying in Australia for good, I reckon, and we'll all benefit from him.
And I think we were doing radio when you made that 100. Gee, did you go on about it? Weren't you 70 not out overnight? And Shazza even came down to watch you trickle that single for that 100, and off she went. Done.
Well, at Forest Hill Fourth Soga, we never had too many blokes going at 130 clicks. But, I reckon I would have got me bat halfway through my backswing and be clean bowled by the time I even saw it. But I've often wondered, Oga, how good would it be to face somebody who's bowling legitimately quick? Would you see it? Would you just hit you? Would you be petrified? It's always been a little thing I wouldn't mind facing someone just momentarily. Surviving would be the first thing to try and do, and then maybe try and get one away for the fence. But yeah, I think he'd have us covered. And the wonderful thing about cricket and golf, for that matter, is you just have to look at the scorecard at the end to see how you went. And I don't share this with too many people, Ogre, but when I did get that 100. I got dropped on 0, Ogre, and it was the biggest soda nick-off outside off to the keeper, who dropped an absolute pud. And I thought, well, today's my day. And so it was. 100. I got 100. I got 100, and I was that excited to get 100. I nicked off next ball so I could get out and start talking about it to everybody.
I'm sure you told that fielder that he's dropped the soda pop throughout your 4-hour, 6-hour, 100 run innings. Because you're a bit of a plotter, weren't you? It would have been off 300 balls, that 100.
I'll turn it up. Ogre's world record time. Anytime outside leg and short, just went straight over mid-wicket. Ogre only got 2 shots. Mid-wicket and hook. That's it for a lefty. They're the only 2 you need.
Well, again, any of our listeners have got any ideas for guests out there, let us know. We're happy to chat to them and get them on air, because we love a referral, Big Paulie.
Love a referral, and we're just starting to tap into the upper echelon of society, from business leaders to sports stars to teachers to golfers. My goodness, from barbecue cleaners to plumbers. The list goes on. We are covering a very wide range of clientele here, Ogre, and nobody's too big, nobody's too small, nobody's too good. We'll take anybody, Ogre. We'll take anybody. We'll make you look good.
We certainly will. Well, thank you, Big Paulie, and we'll chat to you soon. Good night.
Cheers, Ogre. See you next time.
You've been listening to another episode of Clueless with Ogre and Big Paulie. Follow, like, subscribe, even leave a review. Do it all. We'd love to hear from you.